What we're going to look at today is those movable E shapes. So taking our regular E major shape, moving it up the neck. And we're going to do this in the key of E. So first of all, what do I mean by the key of E? Well, that's essentially the E major scale harmonised. So every note in the scale has a chord associated with it. So it's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. So you've got 7 chords. We're only going to deal with 6. So we're just going to have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor. So just the first 6 chords of the key. Now in the key of E, that gives us E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major. And if you are playing those as bar chords in the E shape, they look and sound a little bit like this. So here we have E, we have our F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, and a C sharp minor. So hopefully what you can see there is that I am moving both the E major and E minor shapes up the neck with the human capo to play those chords. And again, the root note for these chords is just on the E string, just on the bottom E string there. So that might be a little bit of a struggle. Lots of people struggle to play bar chords. So this isn't just about a way round playing, a way of avoiding bar chords. This isn't just a way of avoiding bar chords. It's this is just to show you the E shape and how we can move it around with some variations. So instead of barring, we can just move the E shape, the E major and E minor shape. Now, if you don't know what that is, or you haven't quite grasped that concept yet, that's okay. I will pop a link to a previous lesson on this inside the folder with this lesson. So you can have a look at that, and it's called something just like movable E shapes. And there's some tab and some recorded examples and stuff in there. But for today, what we're going to do is we're going to move the E shape again and apply it to some songs. So first of all, let's go back to the movable E shape. Instead of doing the bar chords, our first variation is to play them as just the shape, and we're going to leave the bottom E out of the equation. Apart from the E chord, we'll play it for that. And leave the high E and the B strings open. It's a really nice sound actually. So for example, if I take the F sharp minor chord and instead of barring, I'm going to take my index finger and pop it on the 2nd fret on the G string, so I've got this shape. This is called the E minor shape. And we're just moving that up the neck to this position here. So you've got frets 4, 4, 2 on the A, D and G strings, and then an open B and E. Gives you this. So you could, if you wanted to, you could always thumb the E string. That's another way around bar chords. I shouldn't say that, but it's a different way of playing bar chords. It's not any easier, in fact. Could be harder. So then we're going to move that shape up 2 frets. Gives us G sharp minor. Back to our regular E shape to play A. Same with B, and then for C sharp minor, we have that shape again. So we're going to number these chords 1 through 6. 1, E major. 2, F sharp minor. 3, G sharp minor. 4, A major. 5, E major. 6, C sharp minor. might recognise that first 3 chords. Lots of songs that use those 3 chords. The one that just popped into my head there was Melissa by the Allman Brothers. So yeah, people do use these shapes. It's not just a way around bar chords. So these chords would have really fancy long names because we're using an open E and a B string. Don't need to worry about that. We're just using them as a substitute. It's just a variation for the big bar versions, that's all. So for all intents and purposes, today, that's an E, that's an F sharp minor, chord 2, chord 3, G sharp minor, chord 4, A major, chord 5, B major, chord 6, C sharp minor. With me so far? Hope so. Anyway, one more variation I want to show you on these chords that will definitely work in this key is, instead of doing this shape, we're just going to take the bottom part of the chord, so the E, A, D and G strings, and we're going to play those instead. So what would that look like? Well, again, you could go back to doing your form like this with the thumb over the top, which is quite a nice way of playing these shapes, to be honest. So as you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm not barring. So hopefully what you can see there is that I'm moving both the E major and the E minor shape up the neck. So quick recap on that again. E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp minor. Those are the chords that we're going to be using for the majority of the songs that we're going to look at today. The first one being Sit Down by James. So a great song, great sing-along song when you're playing gigs in a rowdy pub. So the chords for this are E, A and B, or 1, 4 and 5. So just real quickly, and I'm not going to sing or play the song for copyright purposes. The reason I'm not going to sing it is because I have no singing voice whatsoever. And also this song reminds me of something I was probably told a lot as a child. Sit down, James. Anyway, here we go. So, chord 1, chord 4, chord 5. Oh, 5. I'll do that again. Ready? Chord 1. Hopefully you can hear that song there. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down. I said I wasn't going to sing. Sorry, apologise. So, nice, easy one there. Again, listen to the song and work out like how you would want to strum it or how it's played for yourself. Just kind of giving you the basic info here. Those are the chords. E, A and B, 1, 4, 5. Let's take a look at our second song, which is Journey, Don't Stop Believin'. So the chords for this, E, B, C sharp minor, A. Then we've got E, B, G sharp minor to A. So we've got 1, 5, 6, 4, followed by 1, 5, 3, 4 in the key of E. So again, you've got options. You can play them with the full bar chord form. You could play them with power chords. You could play it with the shapes that we've been looking at, just the partially kind of barred shape with your thumb over the top of the neck, or not. It's entirely up to you. So let's hear what that sounds like. Again, I'll do you the favour, I'm not going to sing the song, just imagine how the song goes. Okay, here it is. So next up, Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag, 1, 4, 5, 6 and a 3. So we're going to incorporate some of these lower voicings into it now. What do I mean by that? Well, it's probably easier, especially if you decide to play the chorus with a little bit of distortion as well, to use the bar chord shapes that build on from the power chord shape that I'm sure you're familiar with. So E will be this shape, A, chord 4, this shape, chord 5 is this shape here. But then we are actually going to utilise that power chord shape to play chord 6 to chord 3 when we do that thing. Okay, so we've got chord 1, chord 4, 5. And finally, we're going to take a quick look at Creep by Radiohead, and this is going to use, again, bar chord forms in the E shape. The difference being this time we're going to attack the chord from the bottom as well. Now you can use your thumb over the top, you can use that method, or you can bar. This is particularly useful when you get to that C minor, which is up here on the 8th fret, where you can just use your index finger on the 8th fret on the G to play it that way instead of barring. Entirely up to you. Personally, I recommend doing it both ways and seeing what feels right for you. Again, there's loads of things on guitar that feel unnatural, and guys say this to me all the time. It doesn't feels more comfortable doing it like this. It feels unnatural doing it that way. Well, my argument is, like, you know, everything on guitar feels unnatural when you start. So, you know, if you're just getting into bar chords and stuff, it's always going to be a bit of a struggle. Everyone struggles with them. So let's first of all memorise where these chords are for Creep. So you should ideally have knowledge of the notes on the low E string for this one. We're going to go from G on the 3rd fret to B on the 7th fret. So therefore C and C minor will be up on the 8th fret. So not a lot to remember there. Okay? So first voicing, major. Second voicing, major. Pardon me, second chord, major. Third chord, C, C major. And then for the minor, you can do it like that or like that. Entirely up to you. And then pay attention to the picking pattern in the tab and make sure that you're using cross picking throughout. So what I mean by cross picking is when you're doing, pay attention to my right hand here, when you're doing this sort of thing, make sure that you're alternate picking. Okay, so hopefully you found that useful. Hopefully this gets you moving around just using these E shapes. Any questions or challenges or anything like that you want to go over, you know where I am. Give me a shout anytime. Take care, see you soon.